Good morning, campers. I am Michael Bain, and this is Triggered, coming to you from Dragon House Studios at the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains where, yes, because of the emergency, we have actually raised the bridge on the moat and we haven't fed the alligators in 2 weeks. One of the things that we discovered looking around through our own archives is there's a lot of material that we filmed for various and sundry projects that is now no longer available. So here at Dragon House Studios, we decided that we would go back into the archives once a month and pull out material that's no longer available and drop it right into Triggered. So you recognize this gun. This is my very first AR pistol. A lot of things have happened thanks to Stern Defense. So this week, I'm going to show you how I overhauled my first AR pistol. Let's take a look. Say hello to my little friend. Now, you've seen this guy a lot before. It's a Spikes Tactical AR-15 pistol. It's a very early AR-15 pistol, like years and years and years ago, and I love it. I love it for a lot of different reasons, but today we're going to do surgery on it. Okay, now we're back inside Dragon House Studio right here at the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains. And this, of course, is the Spikes Tactical Pistol. As I said, you've seen this many, many times before. It is classic old school, if you look at it. It's got a quad rail. Remember quad rails, cheese graters? Here's the pistol buffer tube. It's covered with this wonderful leather wrap with the Spikes Spider on it, as we have the Spikes Spider there in my own custom serial number 0666. I like this gun a lot, but I really am interested in changing over to a Glock magazine just to see if that works. So, of course, here are the magazines we've been talking about. They're essentially Colt-type magazines, right? They were made originally for Colt for the 9mm submachine gun, that the AR-type submachine gun. Interestingly enough, they were adapted from a standard Israeli Uzi magazine. And you can still take an Uzi magazine and modify it to work in these guns, but these magazines are actually cheaper. They're the hardest magazines on earth to load, by the way. So, let me show you this. This is from Stern Defense. And I mentioned it last week, but I wanted to show it to you. It's basically an adapter for an AR-15 magazine well to allow it to use Glock magazines. I'll show you this just for a second. This is an Angstat Arms 9mm. This is a dedicated 9mm. Look at the difference in the lower. This is a lower that is specifically built to carry a 9mm magazine. It wasn't modified from anything. So this is a typical Glock type lower, and we're seeing more and more of those. But if you happen to have an AR-15 that you're not using, or an AR-15 lower receiver, and you know, I have lower receivers lying around. I don't know where they all came from, but right now they're really inexpensive. So you say, well, I might want to build myself up an inexpensive 9mm. Well, the Stern Defense system, it's going to cost you a little there. I think these are 175 bucks a piece. That's MSRP. But you can see here, it's a pretty intelligent setup. It goes into the AR magazine well, and once it goes in there and locks in, voila. And you'll notice it changes the magazine release. It is no longer using the AR-15 magazine release. It's using this magazine release right here, which once again is actually a pretty ergonomic spot for a magazine to slip it in, slip it out like that. So what we're going to do here today, oh God, and it terrifies me to no end, is I'm going to attempt to put this and that. I'm going to take out the block that is in the Spikes AR pistol and put in the Stern Defense block. Having done things like this a lot on camera, I can assure you of one thing. It won't work. It never worked. The last time I had this idea that I was going to go ahead and take a gun apart and show you how to do something with it. Last time I did that, it was a 1022. And basically a 1022 is something I can assemble and disassemble in my sleep. We had to actually pound that 1022 apart with a mallet. because it hated me. But in any case, let's take a look here. Okay, you can see inside the magazine well, you can see this attachment inside the magazine well and this bolt holding it in. So what we're going to do is loosen up this bolt and then see if we can slide this adapter out. If we can't, we're going to pause for a minute while I go get some WD-40, because what the heck? Thanks to the miracle of WD-40, you ought to be able to do anything. So let's see what we have. Voila! This is the adapter for a Colt magazine. It goes in, there's a set screw right there, you clamp that down, you tighten it down. So now here we have the lower. We now have the lower with no magazine well in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do this. Watch this, I hope. Ha! There you go. That is the installed Stern Defense magazine well. And it goes like, and when you want to drop the magazine, just like that. Now a couple of things you got to do once you get it in here is that you see there's a little shaky here, a little wobbly on this part right here. Well, Stern makes provisions for that as well. Take a look. There's two set screws on the side, here and here. And then there's a set screw here that pushes up against the outside. And Stern actually provides you with the wrenches to be able to tighten those down. So basically, this magazine well will then clamp down and fit tightly. I've never handled an Allen wrench before. It's an amazing tool. I'm glad that they invented them. So you clamp here, and then we take this other wrench, also provided by Stern Defense, and we take that little guy out. It's a 5/64, and we're going to use it right in here. This is why you have to put on glasses. When you get old, these are the things that happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to tension this just a little bit. And these have plastic tips on them, by the way, so it won't mar your receiver at all. So we're just going to tighten it a little bit here and take out the rattle. And voila! We now have a Glock magazine in an AR-15 lower. That was really easy, and you're probably going right now like, wow, that was so easy. What's the catch? Well, actually, there is a catch. And that catch happens to be that a bolt, your average bolt here, let's pull this guy out. The bolt needs to be slightly modified, like right in here, so it rides over the Glock magazine. You wouldn't have to modify it at all. It's a minor modification. I had this bolt modified years and years ago. I had this idea that I was going to change this over to a 9mm Glock, and so I went ahead and had the bolt modified. I think it was like 80 bucks or something, $70 to have the bolt machine checked there. Come on. But see how hard it is to actually do simple things on camera? See how dirty this bolt is? Good grief. All right, come on. See, when you're paying attention, it works perfectly. So this bolt has already been cut. And so then what I can do is put this upper back on this lower, and we can take it back out to the range. Before I do that, I want to show you something else also from Stern Defense. When I was talking to them about this adapter, which I'm really liking this. Actually, it's a great magazine release because you're here, bang, trigger finger off, drop the magazine, put it back in. It's a lot like the magazine release on IWI X95, something like that. Really quick, really easy to pop that thing out of there. While I was talking to the guys at Stern, they said, hey, would you like to see one of our uppers? And I said, I didn't know you were making uppers. And they're like, yes, as a matter of fact, we are making uppers. This is their dedicated 9mm upper. And this is a beautiful job. I mean, this is, it is a really nice looking upper for a couple of different reasons. It looks like some kind of Cerakote finish on it here. Obviously, it's a 9mm bolt. That bolt itself is already cut for the Glock magazine. And it's got M-LOK on the fore end. And, you know, we all go through these things. We had the quad rail, and then lo and behold, we had key mod. And you can see the key mod here is the key mod rail. And then now we have M-LOK rails. All the cool kids use M-LOK rails. So that just goes to show. So I said, heck, why not send it to me? And I will attach it to the now newly modified lower, and we'll take it out to the range and see if the sucker works. We can always hope, right? There we go. Now, we've completely changed this little guy. A little bit longer barrel. Look at that flash suppressor, not flash suppressor, but the comp. Now, both of these other guys here, the Angstad arms and the old Spikes upper, both of those guys have flash hiders on them, which you know, is probably useful when you got a little bitty short barrel throwing a hot 9mm rounds. This is a compensator on it, so you can see the different set of gas ports. This is a muzzle brake compensator. It's designed to keep the muzzle down. And not that the muzzle jumps up in the air and goes like, oh my God, help us. None of that actually happens. But it does help keep that little bounce down for it. It's a very ergonomic feeling. I like the modern theory on rails because you can get your hand around it. It'd be nice to have a little hand stop here. But we have a really nice gun. Of course, this gun has an absolutely super trigger on it. So I think what we'll do now is maybe just go to the range and put some rounds through it and see if it's going to actually run with Glock magazines as per. But I have to tell you, that was maybe the simplest piece of work I've ever done that actually worked on camera. So once again, stern defense, and this of course is Spike Tactical Lower. I like get stern on there. You can't really put dirty words on here like you're effed, because then if you go to court, like a certain police officer did, the prosecution holds that up and says, he was looking forward to killing people. So, you know, this says get stern, and so maybe it just is a stern face. But the proof is in the pudding. I won't even put sights on it. We just want to see if it'll go bang here. So let's take it out there, and then we'll wrap up here.
This week's Triggered is brought to you by Lucid Optics. On target, under budget. Franklin Armory, home of the Reformation. Honor Defense, hey, with a brand new gun on the way. Cimarron Firearms, king of the cowboys. Lipsy's and their gun of the month. Tandem Cross, making good guns even better. And Ammo Man. What's inside your ammo can?
One more thing I did want to show you, and forgive me, it's a little windy out here. We've got an empty Glock magazine here. Let's insert that empty Glock magazine, rack it. It does have a last round bolt hold open feature, which is really good. A lot of people like that. I can go with it either way, but it does hold that bolt open. So let's put some rounds in it. What the heck, see if it works. That worked well, didn't it? That's pretty easy. That's the easiest I've ever seen a conversion go on an AR-15. Go to the Stern Defense website because they have magazine wells for a number of different other magazines. I think Smith & Wesson M&P comes to mind. So the idea is whatever carry gun you have, because you're going to have extra magazines for it, you can adapt your AR to it. You're going to need an upper, obviously a barrel, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure you figured out that you can't run a 9mm through a 5.56 barrel. But this is a good system. It's an interesting system. If you want to take this out, by the way, all you got to do is push the original AR magazine release, and the entire well comes out. Also, check out their uppers. This is a really nice 9mm upper, and I've been working with 9mm uppers for now a decade, and I'm really, really familiar with how they go. So anyway, this week, Stern Defense. I hope you enjoyed that look into the past. Now let me give you a little peek into the future. Say hello to my new little best friend, the Ruger PC Charger, which we're going to be featuring next week. It is the newest PC pistol that I have, and I think it's going to be one of the best. By the way, I already changed out the trigger in that Spikes Tactical to one of Stern's triggers. You think I'm going to change out the trigger in this Ruger PC Charger? Tune in next week. I'm Michael Bain. You can always find us on michaelbain.tv, YouTube, everest.com, and hey, you stay safe out there.